嗯，妈妈在工作，你先别吵我哦。
是不是可以静音了？
什么？
不是可以静音的。
Oh, already 29 people. Hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to this first session. Bon, bienvenue à cette première session de la saison. This session will be all in English. If you have any questions, please make sure you drop them in the chat or you keep them for the end of the session. There will be a quick period of question. Cette session va être tenue en anglais. Si toutefois vous avez des questions en français, ça me fera plaisir d'y répondre soit dans le chat ou soit à la fin, il va y avoir une période de questions. We're very excited. It's the first session of the season. We've been obviously very busy with the tech team. So for the people who might not know me, I don't know if there might be new members in this attending this session. So my name is Geneviève Piloto. I'm the program director for CASI, and I do have with me tonight James Island and Breen Trutt, both from Ontario, who are members of our national tech team. So they're here tonight to present the expectations of our mandatory maneuvers from level 1 to 4. So as I was saying, we've been very busy since last spring, preparing some of the planning and preparing for the next season. So we went over some changes and updates in our courses and all of our programs, and we're still obviously very busy at this time of the season, working on all these stuff. For the first session, we thought that the perfect team would be to plant some seeds for you for reflection, either whether you are in the process already or thinking about the process of moving toward the next level. So we wanted to cover these mandatory maneuver, or sometimes you might hear them as writing tasks, that we use on all of our courses, including Park 1 and Park 2 courses as well. So the things that you'll hear tonight might not be completely new, probably not, because you've been going over the course materials in some of the programs. So don't be surprised, but take it as another opportunity to maybe clarify or learn some more stuff. So we'll get started with this session. Just to give you a little bit more of an insight for those of you who might not be that familiar with the tech team. So the CASI National Tech Team is aimed to provide members with continuous training opportunities to fulfill our mission. Our mission has been rephrased since last season to go along with our strategic planning. So we now call it to inspire the world's best snowboard instruction. I take this opportunity to also present you our new tech team, because we have had some recent changes. John Smith, who was the Alberta regional coordinator, has left his position. He's actually leaving today. So John, if you're here, I'm sure everyone is on this call is saying hello and bye. We know you'll stay close to us. It was a pleasure, obviously, to work with John. I'm talking here for all of the team, of course. So Adam Gardner was on the tech team previously. You probably know Adam. Adam took the RC position in Alberta and BC East, and he's also one of the RC representative, regional coordinator representative on the tech team. And we also welcome Luc Bélanger, who is our Quebec Atlantic Regional Coordinator, who's also an appointed Regional Coordinator representative on the tech team. So welcome back, Luc, to the team. The mandatory maneuvers are the writing tasks and their purposes. So to assess all of our CASI courses writing standards, we use the core and the advanced competencies. And more specifically, we assess them through our mandatory maneuvers or writing tasks. So as a benchmark for the writing performance. So today we'll be focusing on these expectations for each of the mandatory maneuver from level 1 to 4. James and Breen will alternatively voice over the standards videos that you can also access from our website or from our YouTube channel. These are nothing new to you, but we'll use these images. It might not always go in full order, but the goal is to have some images running behind and to go over each of the mandatory maneuvers. So at times I might stop the video, and that's it. Let's go. Let's get started. So I'll give you a brief overview of each course, not too deep because we'll cover it in the next few slides. Our level 1 is the entry-level certification for the new snowboard instructors, and we are expecting an intermediate level riding skills with these mandatory tasks being assessed. So the beginner turns, forward and switch, the open carve turns, which has been reviewed. It used to be the carve traverse. It's pretty much the same outcomes that we're expecting, but we're looking at linking these turns down the fall line. That's it. And intermediate sliding turns. And we also added upping through turns, which was part of our curriculum of the level 1 already in the first morning workshops, but now it also becomes a mandatory maneuver to assess mobility. You can also note probably that we added all the width that we're expecting. So CW means corridor width, largeur de corridor. So these are meters. So these are to give us a range to talk about the same thing, a visual range when we assess these tasks and when we also maybe train or perform these tasks. So we'll get started with, James, do you want to get started with the riding standard for the level 1? We'll skip the core competency part. We'll go straight up to 150 with the mandatory riding maneuvers.
Wait, so first we have the intermediate slided turn, and this is kind of the cornerstone turn for our system. It runs throughout all the levels actually in some fashion. The intermediate slided turn, we're looking for a nice smooth edge change. It's a slided turn, so you're going to see some drift in the snowboard. We're noticing here that the core competencies are present. Center to mobile, balance with a low working edge, and turning with the lower body. Rainer.
Nice. Hey guys, I'm Breen. Glad you're all here. So this one's new this year, but again, like Jen said, it's taking over the carve traverse, the open carve turn.
Do you want to talk about the beginner turns first?
Sorry. Sure. Okay, yeah. Beginner turns. So we're going to do these ones forward and switch because, of course, our learners might be regular or goofy. So we're looking for a 3 to 5 meter corridor, not super important. Your most basic kind of slided 180, side slipping, slided 180. This is done on green terrain at a really slow speed.
Nice.
Thanks, Breen. And then we can go with the open carve turns, which here you see obviously the carve traverse. This video will be updated, as you can read below. It will be updated through the season as we have the material to update it.
I think the similarities here for the carve traverse though and the open carve turns is that we're expecting to see a nice edge. Okay, the only difference is we would see Melon changing the edge there more in the fall line. So we're not directing the energy across the hill anymore. We're going to be on more of a green cat track, and it's going to be into the fall line. So we're going to be rolling from edge to edge.
Great.
Breen, do you want to talk about hopping through turns?
Yeah, the last one that we don't have video of it yet, but we will soon, but it's hopping through the turn. So again, this has always been in the level 1, and we're just using it as another way to analyze people and check for their skill level. So hopping through the turn. So basically you're just doing a smooth turn down a green pitch. And through that traverse, you're showing us some hops. So the idea here is to show that the rider is very mobile and isn't stuck in a static position.
Nice.
So that was for the level 1. For the level 2 course overview, we do have a new standard video that we just launched I think it was last week or maybe the week before. So our level 2 is the mid-level certification for intermediate snowboard instructors. And obviously we're expecting a standard intermediate to advanced level skill riding, with these mandatory tasks being the novice turns, forward and switch on a green terrain, 4 to 6 meter corridor width, the intermediate carve turn. So this task has changed. It used to be called the basic carve turn. We step it up a little bit to call it the intermediate carve turn, as where you can see in the next slides what we're expecting exactly. The short radius sliding turn and the ollie. We have revamped the short radius sliding turns as well. Definition, the explanation of the short radius sliding. So here we go with the video.
Cái hỏi là một cảnh nào.
Oh, why it doesn't use my
If you want to get started,
Sure. Is this in order, Jen? Sorry.
sorry, if it's in order, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're looking at novice turns first.
Sorry, hold on. Oh no, I'm gonna skip the competence.
Yeah.
All right, short
Okay,
radius turn first. Sorry
So
about that.
short radius turns. This is where we start going faster. Essentially, speed and terrain increase, and the radius of our turn decreases. So what you're going to notice in the short radius turn is that it's a slided turn. Transition from edge to edge is still very smooth, but we're shortening up the radius and we're going faster. So those two put together start to create a little bit of board bending. Okay, so we're not actively sort of seeking it out. It's a byproduct of actually the terrain we're on and how fast we're going. You're going to see Adam here riding and Breen, and you're going to notice that it's a fairly quick movement, nice across the fall line, and the board starts bending just because of the speed they're going.
Thanks, James.
Nice.
Breen.
All right, so the next one up is the novice turns forward and switch. We're looking for a 4 to 6 meter corridor width. So what we're looking for is a nice smooth round turn on greenish terrain, maybe a little bit dark green. Even speed throughout, so we're not picking up speed and we're not slowing down. So the speed stays even and the speed is controlled through the turn shape. There is a switch maneuver, so we're not worried about you actually transitioning into the switch, but we want to see that you can also do these turns switch. And again, that's because at this level, we're always teaching riders who may be goofy or may be regular. So we want to make sure that our instructors have a good ability to ride switch. And when they go to ride, teach those opposite riders that they can still give a decent demo.
Thanks, Bryn. James.
No problem.
With the intermediate carve turns.
Yeah, something's happened to my screen here. Okay, I'll just talk about the intermediate carve turn. So the intermediate carve turn is, we're expecting a 7 to 10 meter corridor width. It's a smooth transition. It's done on green or light blue terrain. We're looking for a nice radius carve, so something that we can see that we're actually maintaining edge throughout the arc. We are, it's not so much a drifted turn, so we want to make sure that we're seeing that carve and a nice smooth transition through the arc. Figure out where you went.
Nice.
Thanks. Breen, if you want to talk about the last one, the fourth mandatory maneuver, the ollie.
Nice. So the ollie is a great one. Again, we're just using this to check out people's ability, another way to do it. So we're looking for people to ollie on something like a cat track. So again, very green terrain. It can be off a flat base or maybe a little bit of a toe side edge. It doesn't really matter. The height of the ollie doesn't matter, but you should at least be able to get over a pop can. So maybe 10 centimeters. And we're just, again, looking for the mobility in the body. So it's a 1 foot kind of taking off the back foot, landing on 2 feet. And we just want to see that you look comfortable doing it, because again, we're looking for demos.
Thanks. I see some question in the chat. I'll keep them for later people. I'll just do it at the end with the period of questions. Level 3 course instructor. So there's no change in the mandatory maneuvers this season. So this is an advanced level certification for experienced snowboard instructors who have experience in both teaching in snow schools with tons of different students, and also riding, like a lot of riding volume before attending this course. So it's an advanced, we're expecting an advanced level riding skills that will be assessed with the mandatory task, large turns, which are carving, short turns, free run, that you can see in this video. It's still called short turns in ungroomed terrain, but we called it, since last year, we changed the name to free run. Basically, it's the same expectation. We just thought that the word, the definition was matching a little bit more the task, what we're expecting. So medium turns, forward and switch also is the last, the fourth mandatory maneuver for the level 3. James, do you want to get started with, what's our first one here, with the medium turns?
Sure, the medium radius turn. So this is our medium radius turn. We're expecting medium speed with medium radius and expert level riding. So that's or expert terrain, I guess. So we're looking for a nice smooth transition. This is essentially a similar turn to the intermediate slided turn that we saw in the level 1, but we're doing it on expert terrain with refined skill level. So this can seem like a very easy turn, but it really demonstrates a refined ability to control those core competencies while kind of dabbling and starting to see the advanced competencies coming through. And that's the big difference between the level 2 and level 3, is that we start piling on those advanced competencies.
Thanks.
So the next one is going to be the short turns. The corridor width here is 3 to 4. So again, moving from the 2 to the 3, we're getting on steeper terrain and we're doing it at a higher speed. So of course that corridor is going to go down. We're really looking for energy here. So you'll notice that this rider, there's no braking, there's no snow going down the hill. So all the energy that they're creating is being deflected across the hill and is being used in the next turn. Again, speed isn't really moving up or down. Speed is constant, and all of the energy that is being produced is being moved into the next turn. So you can kind of think like loading and deflecting. Very smooth. You can see a nice relaxed body position and no dead spots in that turn.
All right, the large turn.
Yeah, large radius turn. So the big difference between the level 2 and the level 3 here is that you're going to be going faster and you're going to be on steeper terrain. So definitely going to be on a blue run here. And you're going to see an energy difference. You're going to see the rider being able to get into that arc and then the actual energy being deflected into the new arc. So you'll notice that I'm using verbiage like loading, deflecting, arc to arc. And those are the competencies that are sort of rising to the level. And that's how we're assessing. That's why, like Jen said at the start, we use these riding tasks so that it highlights the performance of those competencies coming to the surface. So smooth arc to arc, and this rider is changing the arc, so really being versatile with their steering there too.
Thanks.
Nice.
Green.
So the last one is our free run. This is going to be done in ungroomed terrain, or if there's no ungroomed terrain, it might be on something steep or something icy, something variates. It's a 3 to 6 meter corridor that we're looking for. The biggest kind of competency that comes to mind here is strength and flow. So the ability to have a good line selection. So at this level, our eyes really have to be in tune to what our feet are doing. So looking ahead and scoping out the terrain, and then being able to, for the brain to translate that to the ankle to allow it to relax and absorb or push when it needs to. So you can see this person coming down through the terrain. They kind of know where they're going and they're making the terrain look easy. And that's kind of done through that line selection.
Thanks. Let's move on to our level 4 course. That, as now you've probably read the last blog article where we presented the changes about the new format of our level 4 courses, which will be presented in 3 modular courses. We won't go over this today, but you'll have the time, like everything is on the website, and you'll have the time to get more familiar with it. The writing standards haven't changed. It's just the presentation of the course that goes in 3 separate modules for each of the part of the course that we're assessing. So instructor training, teaching, and writing. So obviously at the level 4, we're expecting an expert level writing that we assess with these mandatory tasks, starting with the corridor, an 8-meter corridor on a blue, steep blue terrain, expert short radius, free run, moguls, free ride, according to what terrain we have available, medium turns and large turns, and freestyle. So we can get started with the first task, which is, I believe, the corridor.
Cool. So the corridor is a very strict 8-meter corridor. You'll notice that that's the one that doesn't have a variance. It's because we actually brush it out at 8 meters, and we're expecting, and we do that for a purpose. We're expecting the rider to be constrained and show that they have adaptability within that 8 meters, and they can create energy. You're going to see a lot of energy being deflected from one side of the hill to the other. And this is a big one for me to see loading and deflecting, and the ability to have the versatility while riding on a fairly steep terrain. It's blue-black terrain. Normally it's a little blacker than it is blue, and you're riding fast. So speed, deflection, and turn shape are very, very definitive in this task. So it's something that you want to be able to see. And it needs to be practiced, because 8 meters is a weird turning radius for most snowboards out there. It's kind of it's a bit awkward. You can't pure carve it most of the time.
Yeah, you're right. It's something that you need to train. So if you don't have the opportunity to, we do offer some member sessions, some corridor session. If you don't have the opportunity to set one up every day at the hill, you can also like visualize that size, or like take a run where you can fit a couple, three maybe groomers, or like measure something that seems like a good 8 size for you, and then you can practice within that run. That's one of the tips you can use.
Another good tactic for that is, if you can get into a corridor, time your turns, and recreate the timing outside of that. That's a really neat one to do too. So when you're actually making the edge change on the outsides there, and notice.
Nice.
The next one is a short radius spin.
All right, so we got expert short radius. So again, ramping up from the level 3, we're on a little bit steeper terrain and the speed is faster. So again, the corridor has shrunk. Now we're at 2 to 3 meters. This is kind of our smallest corridor that we'll be at. The expert short radius requires all of the advanced competencies, obviously, but again, loading and deflection is a huge one. So again, just all of the snow you can see from this rider is being pushed across the hill, and none of it is going down the hill. So once the snow starts being forced down the hill, that's when you're going to see the rider slowing down, and at that speed, you're going to see chatter. So early edge is key, getting on that edge early and be able to push through the apex of the turn. Obviously, foot separation is huge on this one. You definitely need to be finishing one turn while starting the next. So if you can't separate the ankle joint at this level, you wouldn't be on the floor if you can do that. But it's very key, obviously, in this turn.
Thanks.
I think something to notice there is that a lot of people get stuck and that it's the same on the level 3, and forcing the board to go like perpendicular to the hill or straight across the hill. That never really happens. You're going to see that in the videos, and that comes to people come to me a lot with that. So just something to notice is that it's never 100% across the hill, right? We have to be starting the next turn, like Breen said, as we're finishing the turn that we're in.
Thanks.
Sorry, that was a little caveat.
No, that's good. Anytime, you know. I'm not adding anything because I find that you guys are, it's already complete. So, but when you see anything, just jump in. Medium radius sliding turn.
Right.
All right. So again, like James already said, this is going to be done on expert terrain at a medium speed. So we're looking for a lot of things here. Basically, if you look at the rider, it's a very round turn. And if you look at the track in the snow, it's kind of like a crescent moon. So the edge needs to come on early. And the steering effort is led as a blend of obviously pivot and edging. So we want to turning with the lower body still there, even though it's kind of blending with steering versatility. But yeah, round turn shape, and the turn shape is controlling the speed. The rider is nice and relaxed. Often with this turn, we'll see people kind of start to carve in spots, or we'll see big dead spots in the turn shape. So just a nice round turn, even speed.
I think the big thing with this one is like consistency through the whole arc.
No dead spots.
No dead spots. And we don't have the speed to hide some stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky.
What is this?
Sorry, I'm just gonna, there's more people coming in at this time.
Okay, so now we're going to get into the free run. So this this arena is in black to double black. Oftentimes, this will be held in the more difficult parts of the mountain. You can see the rider here. This is an extension of the level 3. Obviously, we're going faster in more difficult terrain. So all the things that Breen said in terms of tracking, in terms of looking where you're going, and utilizing the terrain. So I like to look at this this task as using terrain as opportunity, not obstacle. So the rider must be doing exactly like that. That rider just popped off the snow to change edges. That was an opportunity made instead of seeing it as a hindrance. So you want to see good strength and flow here, but also a lot of creative variation. Using the terrain to your advantage is huge in the free run.
Yeah. Creating opportunities. Breen, do you want to go over the freestyle?
Yes.
Or...
All right. So our last mandatory maneuver is the freestyle, which is a fun one. So the jumps we're looking for are small to medium. So kind of between 15 and 20 foot tabletops. Or I guess I should say 5 to 7 meters. We're looking for line selection. So taking features that you're comfortable with and not looking for the biggest features that maybe you're uncomfortable with or gonna have a harder time with. We want to see variation in the tricks that are happening. So front side, back side, lip slide, every kind of variation that you can show us is appreciated. We want to see that if you're landing switch, that you can take off switch as well. So trying to limit reverts is huge on this one. Obviously, we want to see having fun. That's really important. Throwing in tweaked grabs or any kind of difficult grabs is great. But at the end of the day, we do want to see rotations and the ability to control rotations. So kind of at least front side and back side 360s would kind of be the minimum here off that medium jump. Yeah, and then same with the boxes, trying to maybe get a 360 over a box, so a backboard 2.7 or something along those lines.
Thanks.
Sweet.
James, anything you want to add in there? All good?
No, just again, it kind of free riding and park to me are pretty much the same. You're just trying to find opportunity with the features that are there. So don't look at them as obstacles, or like just use them, have fun. Add grabs. I love to see when people add grabs, like I just a front side 3 is nice, but if you add a small grab, it just adds that much more creative variation. So that's what I mean. This is the level 4, right? So don't be afraid.
Thanks. Let's go with the large turns.
Okay, so the one thing I'm just going to start with what I see most often goes wrong, and people go too slow. You need to go fast. This is a fast maneuver. This is one of those tasks that you should feel the jacket flapping. Okay, that's kind of the way that I look at it. And you're going to see this riders not riding slow. Look at the rooster tail that's coming off the snowboard, right? So this is the ability to hold a defined edge at speed in difficult terrain. It's not always going to be perfectly groomed, and it's not always going to be on a perfect pitch. So you need to make the right decision for the turn shape based on the terrain you're on. So if you're on something that might be a little bit slow, you need to go straighter. You need to open the turn shape up. We're not looking for a complete round turn here. We're looking for a defined performance. So the board's loading and deflecting. You're moving energy through one arc into the next. You're changing the size and shape of the turn based on attaining that level. So that's, for me, go fast, hold that edge, and make it look like you, not even look, just make the energy happen.
Okay. That covers our 6 mandatory tasks for the level 4, 6 mandatory maneuvers. We'll go over with our Park 1 course. The Park 1 is an entry-level certification for taking students in the park safely. So we're expecting an intermediate level freestyle riding skills with mandatory tasks being boxes, rails with variation, flatland and tricks, straight air with variations, rotation, 180s in 2 directions. And this course is also prerequisite, if you don't know yet, if it's a prerequisite for our level 3 course, as we're expecting people in the level 3 course to be ready to teach in the park, ride or teach in the park safely.
So yeah, this course is designed to take beginners into the park, so a large emphasis on safety. If you're taking this course to learn how to ride park, then you're going to have a hard time, because we do expect some standards as we're coming in. The mandatory maneuvers are rails with variations, so boxes and rails with variations. So at a minimum, kind of 50-50ing rails and then getting sideways on a box. You need to be able to show some kind of flatland trick, so presses and kind of presses with rotations. We're doing straight airs with variations, so straight airs with grabs on small jumps. So small being kind of 6 to 7 meters. And then 180s in 2 directions. And we're fairly strict on this. So of course, your beginners might want to run a front side or a backside 180. So we need you to be able to show both of these at kind of demo quality.
Yeah, this is one of the places you need to practice before you go in and make sure you're comfortable. This environment, more so than any environment, tends to induce anxiety if you're not stoked on being in. I'm getting really excited about snowboarding watching this too, by the way. I'm like, good God damn. When I was talking about the carving, I was just like, oh man, he's going so fast. Damn. Anyway, sorry, that was a little side note. Getting jazzed.
All right, we'll move over to the Park 2. Thank you, Breen, for the Park 1. So obviously the Park 2 is a step over the Park, a big step over the Park 1. It's an intermediate level certification for teaching experienced students in the park. So we're not only introducing students to the park, but we're expecting the teacher to be able to have progressions in the park. So they should be intermediate to advanced level. Sorry, she's bucking right now. The intermediate to advanced freestyle riding skills with these mandatory tasks being assessed. So medium boxes and rails with that variation, medium and large straighters with variations, and a rotation 360s in the two directions. So we're expecting variation on different features.
Yeah, so for this course in particular, there's a bit of a, because we only have two park courses, there's a bit of a bigger jump between the two. This, just like any course, you want to be comfortable in the environment, just like I said. Medium boxes and rails with variation, you're going to start getting into street style rails, some bigger features that you may not normally hit. It's an amazing course. It's one of my favorite courses to run, selfishly, because it's kind of really awesome and fun and scary, but good scary. Straighters with variation. So we're looking at variation being outside the binding. So grabs that are sort of tail grab methods, stale fish. We're looking for comfortable, right? You need to be comfortable. You need to be, Brina said it a couple times, demonstration quality. So when you're going off of these features, we're not rolling down the windows a bunch. We're coming off and we're creating good pop or good ollie. We're putting ourselves in the air and we're creating those opportunities to create solid grabs. For the 360s, obviously you're going to be stronger one way than you are the other. So it's important, again, that you can demonstrate quality 360s in both directions. You don't necessarily have to be able to do it before you come into the course. If you have one dialed, that's what we're there for. We're also going to be coaching you through the whole thing, but make sure that you are able to spin off of some medium/large jumps, because everybody's park's a little bit different. This one tends to be the most adaptable with the sizes. We keep it as strict as we possibly can, but you need to be comfortable on mediums for sure.
Yeah, and it always depends on what's available at every resort, right? So you'll adapt to be able to create these variation on features. But sometimes, like a large in a place, I'm not teaching you anything by saying like a large in a resort might not be the same large as in another resort, and a medium, same thing. So sometimes like we'll go over a large that might seem a medium to some people, but we're going over sizes that strong intermediate rider in the park should be able to take on.
Yeah, very similar standard to the level 4, actually.
Yeah. So that's it for the session. We went over all of our mandatory maneuvers. I'm going to start with, we had 2 questions in the chat here. Pam asked us to clarify that up in the traverse, so that the task upping through turns. So upping through turns is a mandatory maneuvers which will be done in a radius of 5 to 7 meters. Corridor width in a green to blue run. It could be pale blue. It's the same standard as the level 1 intermediate sliding turn. So basically we're looking at students to, if you've done if you remember doing the level 1 course, there's an exercise that we've been using. We're upping through the traverse of the turn. While we're linking turns, we're upping through the turns. So that's what we're looking for, not upping at the edge change, if that helps. There will be video and more details on this task, and also for any evaluators that might be on the call, obviously this will be addressed during your online module evaluator training, and also at the evaluator development module on snow. If not, do you guys have anything to add, Breen and James, for this task?
Nope.
Okay. If not a cat track type terrain available for level 1 course, what is the expectation? So you're talking about the open carve turn at the level 1. So we're saying cat track or green. Why we move towards this direction is because we find that we're teaching in very busy resorts, whether it's indoor facilities when you're abroad, whether it's in resorts during rush periods, vacation period. You all know what it is to just go with with a group and just try to, like do the traverse and cross back and forth. It's not always ideal, and reducing the radius, bringing it more towards like a roll to the carve. It's a little bit like a rail to rail, but not that tight, right? So that's why we say 3 to 6 meters. We're not expecting tight carves, we're expecting open carves. So the students can show you their ability to link these open turns a little bit more down the fall line than like crossing across the hill. I think that's it. If anyone has any other questions, you're welcome to just
There's a couple in there now.
Okay. A common questions we get during result is something like, I did the maneuver, why I didn't pass? Can you speak a little bit about the tolerance for technique and maneuvers?
Yeah, totally. So we kind of mentioned it. Well, we definitely mentioned it a couple of times. The maneuver is set so that we can see the benchmarks of performance being those competencies. Okay, so if we don't see the competencies, that means the technique's not there because we've put them into a situation. So you can do quote unquote ollie, but is it good technique, or is it showing the ability to separate the feet, to load the board? Probably not if you didn't pass. So technique speaks to the tolerance. If you don't have good technique, then obviously you haven't made the tolerance. So it's one thing to say you did the thing and another to actually do the thing.
Yeah, and to determine this tolerance, the evaluators are trained to assess with in mind all the TTPPEE, so tactic, technique, like James just mentioned, physical, psychological, environment, and equipment. So we're taking all of these topics in the head when we're assessing each of the levels, and we're also looking at them separately and in a whole, and we're looking at it like from a level 1 perspective. We're looking at the consolidation level of the competencies, and we're moving towards the level with the tolerance, because I see the next question, the tolerance, we said, is the tolerance decrease when you move up the level as you are expected to be able to variance more? Of course it does decrease. It's not that it decreased, but it's that we're expecting more. That's more how I would say it. We're expecting more because the terrain is more, the speed is more, everything is a little bit more. So obviously, like, what you need to perform needs to be more. So the consolidation of your core competencies at the level 1 will be taken to the refined level at the level 2. Does that make sense? So that's how we determine the tolerance. I think that's it. Any other questions? Give it a couple more minutes. Well, that was a good session. Thanks, James. Thanks, Breen. Good voice up over the.
Thanks.
No problem. Yeah, thanks for hosting it, Jen.
You're welcome. For someone asked if the video will be available. Yes, it's going to be available tomorrow on our YouTube channel. Let's say tomorrow midday, to be safe with all of the time changes.
Not for you, Luke. Not for you.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for participating, and stay tuned for the next session at the end of next month. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, guys. All right, you ready for Betty?